It is Sunday morning and I'm finally sitting down to shoot this video where I essentially want to like recreate my wedding makeup. I have my whole makeup kit over here and I did my own makeup, so I was thinking I'll just do like my wedding makeup again and take you through all the things that like ran through my mind, and more than that, like all the things that I felt in my heart when I was figuring how I want to look for my wedding, what do I want to wear, how do I want to tie up my hair, entire shopping process as well, because some of the things that I came across during this whole process of purchasing things and figuring out what might look nice. There are a bunch of like these really wholesome moments which I want to talk about, and more than that, I think the main thing that I want to convey through this video is that you do not have to look a certain way, you do not have to be a certain way in order for you to feel like a bride, and that is the one thing that I learned the most from my own process, and that's what I want to do today. Let's get into it. I also just wet my blender, so this is getting very real. We're gonna do makeup. This has been a dream of mine because like I've spent the last 10-15 years watching like makeup tutorials, watching people like do makeup in their bedrooms and like shoot these YouTube videos. So it's like my life has come full circle where I get to do this for my own YouTube channel, and I'm so excited. So anyway, the first thing that we're going to start off with is Draw Booster Primer. I don't know if I should take you through the products that I'm using, but I'm just going to quickly like show you what I'm using. This is a hydrating primer, especially because I have like really dry skin. Probably like dot it in some of my drier areas. Also, I have my husband sleeping right there. That's why I'm like very strategically framed this in a way where his head is not visible. But he's sleeping right there and I hope I'm not disturbing him. When you're planning a wedding, the first few things that are up for consideration is what is it that you want to look like on your wedding day, and also like all the events preceding that event, and finally like the reception as well. When I was thinking about how I want to look, I kind of had like a few pictures in mind. Like there's this one sari, I'll put it up somewhere over here, where for the last 5-6 years that I've like seen it on Pinterest here and there on the internet, I've always felt like, oh my god, like I want to wear this at some event at my wedding. So using this greenness reducer because I have like really dark eyes, and this kind of helps to cancel it out. When I was figuring what it is that I want to look like during my wedding, I immediately gravitated towards wearing sarees. I also come from a culture where we don't have like lehengas and suits. I'm from Assam, and our traditional wear over there is this 3-piece sari called mekla sador. I wasn't initially thinking of wearing mekla sadors. I think I've applied a lot of color corrector now. Jesus. This is what happens when you have no experience in doing a makeup tutorial. Although this is not a makeup tutorial, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. I started off the process with just figuring like what is the silhouette of the outfit gonna look like, and that was essentially a sari, and I still wanted to figure like if a lehenga would look good on me. My partner's side is from North India, and they like typically have like lehengas. Look up a couple of designers online and see like whose work I enjoy, and I didn't come up with much except for this one designer called Matsya World, whose sarees I really like. In fact, I'm gonna put up a couple of his outfits that I was quite keen on checking out. And then luckily, like there are these bridal exhibitions that happen in the city, like just leading up to the wedding. Wow, I look like a raccoon, but it's okay. I think the foundation will conceal all of this bit. My dad and I actually went to one of these bridal exhibitions, and then we looked up a couple of lehengas, and that's when I realized that they make no sense at all. Lehengas are so incredibly heavy in real life. I remember the first few lehengas that we lifted, both me and my dad were just like staring at each other like, how are other brides doing this? Like, please make it make sense, because it's not making sense to us right now. We didn't even get to a point of like trying on a lehenga because it just made no sense to us at all. We were just like, fuck it, like we will do a sari. Like, that exhibition was really helpful in eliminating the possibility of wearing a lehenga for any event, because I think they're one of the most impractical outfits in terms of not just like wearing them, but also like the cost of it. Because if you're buying a lehenga for your wedding, what are the chances that you can reuse it for any other event? You're spending like 50,000-60,000 rupees minimum. I don't know what I've tried to achieve with this color corrector. It is not supposed to be itna niche, but it is what it is. Now we're just gonna roll with it. After the exhibition, we decided we're not doing lehengas for sure, but we're doing sarees. And this is also the time which was leading up to my birthday, and I decided to like go and surprise my parents in Assam. That's where they were staying. Anyway, decided that at least 2-3 events we want to pick up the traditional Assami sari. Another thing that I thought was really important to me was that I wanted to wear a lot of my mom's saris. Like, I didn't want to purchase sarees for every single event because our wedding was a two-city event where we did something in Bombay, which is my home, and then we did something in Delhi, which is my partner's home. Coffee is here. The reason I wanted to wear my mom's sarees is because I've grown up wearing her sarees. All of my events in college, at work, it's only now, like in the last 1 year, that I've started to like build a collection of my own. But my mom's collection is just so incredibly gorgeous and elegant that I've never like had to go and purchase sarees because I've always found something beautiful in her collection. So it's very important for me to make sure that I'm wearing some of my mom's sarees. With all of this in mind, I decided to go to Assam and get some shopping done where we had to anyway at least buy a bridal outfit. I'm now moving on to foundation. I have this Girl On Terracotta foundation which is in the shade 2.5N. It needs to be shaken before application. Went to Assam to pick like a bridal outfit. I had some ideas based off of Pinterest. It's super helpful to just have like a Pinterest board to figure out what your aesthetic is, and I couldn't find any inspiration on that end to figure like, okay, that once I'm in Assam, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I just had like some vague ideas off of Pinterest, and they were not even mekhla sadors, they were just like regular sarees. And the thing that really helped our process was that my mom has a really good eye for design, accustomed to traditional designs for all of her life, and because of that she can pick out a good design from a bad one. And I think that really helped our process because we finished our shopping for my wedding, engagement, and the haldi, whatever it is that I picked up sarees for, in 2 days. So essentially when I arrived in Assam, I was pretty much like in the blind about what I could expect. And the thing is, there aren't too many shops. It's just like 5 to 6 shops that you can go and explore in terms of your options. So I was a little nervous about what I could find, but within like first 3 days, I was there for an entire week. Within the first 3 days, like we had already shortlisted items, which is insane to me because I was not my experience in Delhi where you have so many markets and so many options. So it really helped that I decided that okay fine, I want to wear a mekhla sador, and then I just could go to Assam, and because the options are limited, it just made easier to make up my mind. And I think that was really nice because even with jewelry, like it took us no time to figure what it is that I want to get. All in all, like I think buying a saree was so much more economical. Like all of my wedding purchases have been under a lakh. Like literally my wedding saree is like I think 18,000 rupees, and all of the expenses put together was like under a lakh. Story time. I want to talk about how the selection of my wedding saree actually happened. I was of a very strong opinion that I want to wear like a peach gold saree, like a mekhla sador, or I want to wear something minty green. Like the typical Assamese bridal colors is white and gold, which is what you saw me wear. And my parents were very insistent that I should like at least try out some of those options just to get it out of the way. And I remember that my mom picked out one of these really beautiful pieces in the shop, and I put it on and I turned it around to like show it to my dad, and he was just tearing up and he was like doing this nazar na lage. And then I looked at my mom, and she also had like this really strong visceral response to me putting that piece on, that it was just an automatic yes for me. Like I didn't have to think about anything else. I just immediately discarded all of my ideas, because to be able to see your parents have such a strong response to something that you've worn, how can anything else be more compelling? Okay, so I just blended in the concealer. I'm not as well as I could, but you can just see how automatically it makes my eyes so much smaller. Yeah, that's one of the disadvantages of applying concealer, because I only have really small eyes, but it is what it is. Much better than having dark under eyes on your wedding day. After we shortlisted my wedding saree, I think the others were like almost no-brainers. We made decisions very quickly. I was super happy with like my trip to Assam because of that. And while I was still in Assam, I paid a visit to my grandmom, which is my mom's mom, and that is when I acquired the most beautiful ornament that I could have received at my wedding, which is this chain that you might have seen me wear for the last few months. I have not taken it off except for like once or twice. This stays with me. It's my grandmom's chain, and it has so much sentimental value to me because whenever like I visited my grandparents during the summers, I've always seen them like start their mornings by like praying for everyone and like going and getting like flowers from the garden and offering it to the temple that they have at home. So I've always felt like every time a good thing has happened to me, it's happened because like my grandmom is sitting in front of her temple and praying for me. Being able to get this chain from her meant so much to me. I wasn't expecting it. I just like went to introduce her to my partner. Like he had come down to visit us as well when I was in Assam, and it was during then that she gave me this, and it was just such an emotional moment to be able to have this that I really hope I'm I never ever have to take this off. Moving on. So once I came back from Assam to Delhi, I had like the rest of the shopping to do, and the rest of the shopping was essentially like get some accessorization for my sarees that I bought, bags, jutis, all of that. And that's when I started to like explore Delhi markets, and that is when I chanced upon something called 1 gram gold jewelry. What is 1 gram gold jewelry? 1 gram gold jewelry is essentially like the costume jewelry, but then the jewelers put like a gram of gold in it so that it is counted as gold jewelry. That is my understanding of it. So 1 gram gold jewelry is something that I came across when I think I was at Sadar Bazaar, where we were like walking around these gullies which are like designated for wedding jewelry, and that's where you hear people talk about like, oh, 1 gram jewelry, get it for like this much price. And the most heartening bit of it is that a lot of these really beautiful pieces, whether it's jewelry, it's bags, it's potli bags, jutis, whatever it is that a bride would want to wear at her wedding, is available at different price points, which means it is accessible. Every bride can look beautiful, every bride can feel really nice about herself, because all these things are accessible as long as like you do your research. Like you will get something within your budget and it doesn't have to feel like a compromise. That bit like really spoke to me, and it made me feel really nice about just shopping, because you know, whichever market you go to, it's like wedding season, and you know, like every second person is trying to look out for like their wedding jewelry, their wedding veil and whatnot, and it's all just so celebratory. I'm just gonna get back to my eyebrows right now using this Maybelline Define and Blend brow pencil. I don't do my eyebrows as such. I don't touch them, I don't do threading, nothing of that sort. I just try to fill them in a little bit to fill up this space of my eyebrows and hope for the best. I don't like to play around with like these two bits because it can very easily get overfilled. That's basically my eyebrow routine if at all I'm doing a full face of makeup. If I'm not, I don't even touch my eyebrows. This is what it looks like. Very rough GRWM. Okay, now that I've taken you through a little bit of my shopping experience and I've done like my brows, making expensive purchases, I'm going to start applying some blush, and the blush that I applied was this one. It's the Maybelline Fit Me blush, and I'm gonna use the same brush that I use for highlighter, bronzer, whatnot. Actually, I don't apply bronzer. I don't know how to do it. I do a terrible job. So I skipped out on applying bronzer for my wedding day. The thing that I want to talk about in terms of shopping for expensive things is that social media, bridal trends, magazines and whatnot will make you believe that you have to look a certain way, your events have to be decorated a certain way, you have to splurge on a few itchy cute things to feel like it's a wedding that's worth doing. And it is so far from the truth. You don't have to subscribe to any of that bullshit. You can get married in a temple, you can have a court wedding, you can not even have a wedding and be wedded, and it is all completely acceptable. You do not have to sign up for somebody else's aesthetic. I can't overstate this enough, but then the wedding has to feel like you. Like, just for example, okay, like I also fell into this trap of I'm a little overweight, not overweight as in like actually overweight, but then I want to be like a more ideal weight by the time I got into my wedding, and I was trying to like work out, diet and everything before that, and it was just not happening. I was not reaching my ideal weight and I was getting frustrated about it until I just changed my perspective. How can I look like a happy 69 kilo bride instead of a 65 kilo bride? Like, I just changed the narrative in my head where it's like, now I'm curious about wanting to be a happy 69 kilo bride instead of somebody who is a 65 kilo and has probably like starved her way into this wedding. And honestly, like now that I see my photos, I don't see the difference in weight. All I see is that she's happy, and that is what is going to remain with you, that you're happy and you're healthy. And that is why it's very important to make sure that you're not subscribing to like stupid narratives of looking a certain way. If you look at Instagram and Pinterest and whatnot, it is a whole industry which is trying to sell you like a certain aesthetic of what a haldi event should look like. It should have like 100 kilos of flowers thrown at you, it should have a swimming pool, it should have this fancy DJ, your mehendi should have like all of these genda fools everywhere. And no, it doesn't. It should have you and your family having a good time. That is it. We did our events at home. I had 2 mehendis, one in Bombay, one in Delhi, and both of them were at home, and I couldn't be happier about it. Even my partner, like, they also organized a lot of the wedding events at their home. We also did everything at our home, and it was not just cost saving, but it was just so much more intimate to be able to have people that we love at our own home and to be able to organize things for them. Another thing that really helped with enjoying this whole process is that Div and I were extremely selective about who we want with us when we're celebrating our wedding. Like, who we want to fly down to Bombay for our engagement, and then who do we want for us for all of the wedding festivities in Delhi. We were extremely selective, like it was just our closest friends and family who we had, and all of the good vibes in our wedding was simply because of the people who were there with us. Everyone had so much heart and so much involvement during our wedding, and it didn't matter what the wedding looked like, what the haldi looked like, what are we wearing, what are we serving as food. Like, people just had a good time because they were there for us. Everything just felt so personal and intimate because it was all about the people. It was all about not following the aesthetics or anything. And this is a really good segue for me to give a shout out to all of my friends, not just my friends but also like Div's friends. We literally had friends who paused their lives for a whole month. I've had friends who've like flown in a few days before the festivities in Bombay to come be with us to help out. We've had friends who arrived in Delhi before I arrived in Delhi to help us out with like wedding festivities. It's been such a blessing to be able to like host people and to also have people who are this excited. Never ever thought, I'm applying highlighter by the way, this is like a champagne pop color. Div and I never thought that our friends would be so excited. We're one of the first people in our friend circle to get married. I think everyone was such an enthucutlet about like participating in the wedding, being a part of like everything, whether it's like an event at 6 in the morning or we're doing something at like 12 in the night. Like, people are just up and about there with us constantly to make sure that like we're having a good time, and I think that is the bit that made this wedding so special. I want to give the biggest shout out to both of our parents. Both of us come from very different cultures and practices, because of which we've had to make this wedding like a hybrid of our rituals, and I think it is simply because our parents have just been so loving and respectful about the whole thing, about making sure the other party feels included and involved. And I think that's the thing that like feels the most precious about this wedding as well, that there was just so much respect for each other's culture. Everyone could enjoy it in a way that felt familiar to them but also new. I feel like this video has very quickly become a hosh-posh of a lot of my thoughts which are very unstructured, but I hope it's making some sense to you. We kept the wedding list really small as well, where we had enough time throughout all of the festivities to hang out with our friends and our family in a way which isn't just like, oh, we're catching up for 2 minutes and then I need to like run somewhere else. Like, we had ample time to hang out with everyone, and that is what is most important, because very few such other events in life that everyone, you know, takes the effort to come be there with you. And that's why it was very important that we had enough interface with people. With this wedding, we made sure that it's spaced out enough in a way where we could really hang out with our friends and family, and it was so amazing because of that. I think the North Star of this wedding was just us having a great time with all of our people. Like, the aesthetics didn't matter after a point. Like, we didn't care about like the petals are falling on our outfits and then it's getting stained, my sarees like snagging in different places because of the kaliras that I'm wearing. Like, none of it mattered, because we looked around and it was all of our favorite people, and I think that's the bit that will always remain with us. And that is why when you're planning this whole big wedding for yourself, it's very important to keep coming back to this one question, which is what feels the most like you. Not what you see on Instagram, not what you see on those wedding film or videos which are beautiful but very filmy. You need to keep asking yourself ki tumko kya pasand hai? What would you want to have in your heart once the wedding is over? Doing eyeliner. The eyeliner that I use is my standard Lakme eyeliner. Now that I'm applying eyeliner, I want to talk about my makeup process. I actually did get a makeup artist. I had the same makeup artist for both the wedding and the engagement, which was happening in Bombay. She came down to Bombay to apply my makeup. I realized two things. Number one, because I don't apply a full face of makeup ever, I'm not used to seeing myself with a full face of makeup, and it feels very unnatural to me, no matter how good the makeup is. Number two, most of the makeup artists, not excluding her, typically look at what's trending in the market. They're trying to build their own profiles, and because of that, they're not trying to do justice to you and your beauty. They're trying to do justice to what would be trending, what would look good on their Instagram. They're not trying to make you look prettier, they're just trying to optimize for trends. So because of that, I decided to cancel her for the Delhi thing. I'll do my regular makeup, which is just eyeliner and lipstick, or I will at least somehow find the time to learn to do it on my own. So 2 days, literally 2 days before my own wedding, me and my sister made our way to the mall, where I sat with a consultant, like a makeup consultant at Sephora if I'm not wrong, who took me through like all the makeup I should be using. And all the time when he was giving me gyan as if I will take the products he's selling me and I'll go and give it to a makeup artist to apply it for me at my wedding. Because I gave him clear instructions saying that like, hey, SOS, I'm getting married in 2 days and I need to learn how to apply makeup. So he was like taking me through it. It was very later on during our conversation that he realized that I am applying makeup on myself in literally 2 days. Anyway, he recommended a bunch of products and then went ahead and bought most of them that he recommended except for a few because it was really expensive. And the thing is, I was feeling really guilty because I paid in advance on the makeup artist and that money was never to come back. So the only thing I could do to salvage a little bit of it is at least call a hairstylist to do my hair, which I did, but it was still a lot of money that I had paid her. Essentially, I told myself that if I'm spending some 15,000 rupees more on the makeup that I'm buying, at least I can use the makeup for the next 30-40 times after the wedding. But if I just pay her, I'll not like the makeup, secondly it's a waste of money. You can see that I have once again not done the best job at applying my eyeliner, but it's fine. So applying a little bit of clear eyeliner to open up my eyes. Again, even with this conversation around makeup, I really want to say that I went through a lot of Instagram reels and videos of how people like transform the brides using makeup, and it has always felt to the tune of making them look like something that they're not. And I don't know if that's a personal preference for brides where they don't want to look like themselves, but it is your wedding day. Hopefully you're getting married to somebody you love, somebody you're looking forward to spending the rest of your life with. Why would you not want to look like yourself? Makeup as a way to enhance your most beautiful features is the best way to apply makeup on your face, not just every day but especially at your wedding. And for mascara, I'm just going to use this one. I have no expertise in mascaras, to be honest. I'm just using whatever it is that's sitting in my wardrobe. I was thinking of purchasing false lashes, but then I got really afraid of like applying them on my wedding day because I have absolutely no experience in applying fake eyelashes, and I was honestly very nervous about how me applying my makeup on my wedding day would look like, especially like on camera. And I just kept going back to this conversation that I don't have to look my prettiest on my wedding day. It is fine. I can look my prettiest at my sister's wedding instead. I think it was definitely a huge gamble trying to like, oh yeah, I'm gonna apply my own makeup at my own wedding, but it paid off in my case. Like I was really happy with how I looked at my wedding photos because I looked like myself. Most important, more than anything else, more than like, oh, how the eyeliner looked, how the highlighter looked, like I looked like myself, which I didn't during my engagement when I applied makeup from somebody else. So it is completely fine if you apply makeup on your own for your wedding. You just need to look like yourself. You just need to look like the prettiest version of yourself. So please don't like beat yourself up getting a makeup artist who's charging like 50,000 rupees, ye wo, whatnot. It doesn't always mean that they will do a good job on you. They can have an Instagram profile where they have done a good job on somebody else, but it doesn't mean that they will do the best job on you. So you need to think about this as well. The jewelry that I wore for my wedding, it is costume jewelry that I wore. I picked it up from naniii in Chandni Chowk, and it was also a very frustrating ordeal because the white and gold of my sarees are very specific white and gold, and to find matching white and gold jewelry to it was really a task. Like I tried to pick up something in Assam and it didn't work out, and then I kept like roaming around the markets of Delhi and I couldn't find anything to exactness. And then I remember Div and we went to this shop in Chandni Chowk, and we immediately saw this set which you saw me wear at my wedding. I just remember that I was still a little skeptical of it. I'm a very minimalistic person in general, and that was a very maximalist jewelry set. Like it was a whole choker till here and a secondary set with earrings, mang, tika and everything. So I was a little overwhelmed in the beginning. I wasn't sure, but then I remember like looking towards Div and he was really happy with how it looked on me, and I was like, that's a compelling reason enough to just pick it up if nothing else. I also got like a simpler set as a backup, but that also costed me barely anything. It was under like 4,000 rupees. I think costume jewelry is definitely the way to go. Last thing I want to talk about is jewelry that was gifted to me by my family. The last bit of my makeup is also this lipstick. It's not the lipstick that I applied for my wedding, but it's a very close match. It's the Maybelline shade it's called Midnight Date. I think the most sentimental acquisition of this wedding has been the jewelry that I got from my parents. Okay. I think this is smudged out a little bit. So the first thing that I got is this. I've already been over it. The second thing that I got is this bracelet from my mom. This bracelet actually comes with a earring and a choker, not a choker, like a pendant, which I'm not wearing right now. It was gifted to me by my mom, and my mom has worked her entire life. She's only retired last year. But the thing that she did early on is that she put in this SIP arrangement with Tanishq. Over the years, like it accrued to a certain amount, and that's when she encashed it for this particular bracelet and that jewelry set. My parents have worked really hard to give us the life that we have, and this is one of those representations of just how hard they've worked to be able to give us the life that we have now. And I'm so incredibly grateful for it. So this means a lot to me. I try and at least wear this every day so that I have something as a reminder. Next thing is the set of bangles that my mom got at her wedding from her parents that she gave to me. Like, they're so special to me that I don't even want to wear them ever. Like, I just want to be able to keep them safely so that I can give them to my children someday. That is also something that I've really enjoyed wearing during my wedding. Last piece of jewelry that I really hold dear to my heart are these bangles that my dad got for me. His mom passed away a few years ago, and it was decided in the family that because he's the brother who has 2 daughters, like he has no sons, he has 2 daughters, his mom's bangles will go to him and it will be given to us at our wedding. Unfortunately, we couldn't find her bangles, like we lost them in transit or something. Instead, what he did is he just decided to get us a fresh set of bangles in her memory. I only had one brief for him, which is that number 1, I want to be able to wear it every day, so it has to be simple. Number 2, it has to remind you of your mom. So I remember when we went to the store, he, with such military precision, went around looking for bangles that looked like hers. And I remember just sitting and like looking at him go through all of these different options and whatnot, and it just melted my heart. Look at him, look for something that resembles his mom the most, and we finally got something. I'm not again wearing it right now because I tried wearing it for a while after my wedding, but it's just so precious to me that I think I'm a little paranoid about wearing jewelry in general, and because all of these pieces have so much sentimental value, I've just been like, much rather they sit in my locker than sit on my hands. And the last bit that I want to talk about is, I think, the ring that we got for Div himself. It was again during the same visit when we were picking out bangles in the memory of my grandmom that my dad and I were looking for a ring for him, because it was a subject that my dad was on my ass about for like months. He was just like, listen, you have to get a ring, you have to get a ring, and we couldn't find anything in Delhi. And when I finally came to Bombay, my dad, like literally the day I landed, was like, we are going shopping right now for the ring. When he went, like I remember he just immediately swooped in on one particular option, and after that I was like, no, we can explore more options. So we went to like 3 other shops only for us to come back and pick up exactly that. Viv loves that ring, so all in all it really worked out. It was really sweet to be able to go shopping for jewelry with my dad. Like, not mom, because mom hadn't come to Bombay yet by then, but with dad, because he was just so sincere about the whole thing that it really touched my heart. And I think ultimately this is what made the wedding so special, just to be able to go around figuring things with my parents, with my sister, with Div. Everything was an exploration of what makes me feel the most like myself. And yeah, that's about it. I would apply this makeup setting spray, but I'm not going anywhere with this face. No point like fortifying this on my face right now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching, I really appreciate it. I don't know what you might have taken away from this video, but I hope you've at least enjoyed your dinner. See you.